We trust our senses every single moment of our lives. But what if that's a huge mistake? Today, we're diving into this really radical idea that the reality you see, hear, and feel, it isn't the real thing at all. It's just a user interface. All right, let's just jump right in with a question. Is what you perceive the real objective truth? I mean, most of us just assume it is, right? We trust our eyes and our ears completely. But what if I told you your brain is constantly playing tricks on you? Not because it's broken, but because it was designed that way. And to really get what I'm talking about, let's start with your ears. We're going to look at some fascinating puzzles known as auditory illusions. They kind of show us the first crack in the foundation of what we think is real. So an auditory illusion is basically a disconnect between the sound waves that physically hit your eardrum and what your brain tells you you're hearing. Your brain is taking these little bits and pieces of sound and stitching them together into something that makes sense, but it's not always accurate. A perfect example of this is the McGurk effect. This is where you see just how much our senses influence each other. So, if you hear a sound like buh, but you're watching a video of someone mouthing the word guh, your brain often just splits the difference, and you'll swear you heard duh. It literally invents a third option to solve the conflict. Or how about the incredible shepherd tone? This is an illusion that sounds like a musical scale that's just endlessly rising and rising and rising. It's like those stripes on a barber pole that never seem to reach the top. In reality, it's just a clever loop, but our brain can't handle the complexity, so all it hears is up, up, up. It's a trick they famously used in the movie Dunkirk to create this feeling of unbearable tension. Okay, so our ears can be fooled, fine, but this rabbit hole goes so much deeper. It's not just our senses in the moment, it's our minds when we look back. Let's talk about the deeply unsettling world of false memories. Just how unreliable are our memories? Well, it can be pretty shocking. In one mind-blowing study by researchers Shaw and Porter, this number, 70%, that's the percentage of participants who are convinced to form a detailed, vivid memory of committing a crime when they were younger, a crime that absolutely never happened. So here's the crucial thing to get. Our memories are not like video recordings we just play back. As the pioneering researcher Elizabeth Loftus so brilliantly puts it, they're more like a Wikipedia page. Every single time you access a memory, you can go in and change it. You can edit it, and so can other people, often without you even realizing it. So let's just take a breath here. Auditory illusions, tricking our ears, false memories, rewriting our own past. This all seems, well, pretty unsettling. It brings up a massive question about how our minds are even built. I mean, are these just glitches, bugs in our cognitive software? Or is there a deeper, maybe even a more profound reason why our brain seems so fundamentally bad at seeing reality as it actually is? Well, the evolutionary argument suggests these aren't bugs at all. They're features. You see, our brains didn't evolve to give us the truth. They evolved for one thing: survival. Natural selection doesn't care about a perfect, accurate picture of reality. It favors a useful one that just keeps you alive long enough to pass on your genes. And this brings us to the really big idea, the one that kind of reframes everything we've talked about, the theory that our entire reality is just a user interface. A cognitive scientist named Donald Hoffman proposed this idea. He calls it the interface theory of perception. And it argues that what we perceive, the world of tables and chairs and colors and sounds, that isn't reality itself. Nope. It's a simplified user interface, just like the desktop on your computer. Here's the core analogy, and it's a great one. We all tend to think our senses are like a clear window we look through to see reality. Hoffman says, no, they're more like the icons on your computer screen. Think about it. A blue folder icon isn't a literal picture of the diodes and resistors and code inside your computer. Of course not, but it's a super useful shortcut for interacting with all that complexity. Our perception, he argues, works the exact same way. Now, this is all based on something he calls the fitness beats truth theorem. He ran these evolutionary game theory simulations, and what he found was just striking. In the game of evolution, an organism that sees the complete, complicated truth is actually slow and inefficient, and it gets outcompeted, driven to extinction every single time by an organism that has a quick and dirty perception that just helps it eat, avoid being eaten, and reproduce. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. We can see it happen in the real world. Let me tell you this wild and kind of sad story about the Australian jewel beetle. The males of this species almost went extinct because they became obsessed with a very specific type of Australian beer bottle, a stubby, they call it. So why on earth were they trying to mate with beer bottles? Because those bottles were a perfect supernormal stimulus. They were shinier, bigger, and a richer brown than any actual female beetle. They just ticked all the boxes in the beetle's desirable mate user interface better than the real thing. Their perception wasn't about truth, it was a simple shortcut. Bigger is better. That tragically backfired when humans introduced something new into their environment. So if our senses and even our memories are just icons on an interface, guiding our actions but hiding the truth, what does that mean for our fundamental understanding of the world? I mean, what is actually real? Well, it means that the reality you experience, the very fabric of space and time and physical objects, is a construction. It's an illusion. Yeah, but it's a pragmatic one. It's been fine-tuned for millions of years to keep us alive in our little niche. I don't go and try to pet a tiger for the same reason I don't carelessly drag an important file icon to the trash bin. I take the icon seriously, but I don't take it literally. And that leaves us with this one last, truly provocative question. If everything we perceive, from the color red to the feeling of a solid object under your hand, is just the user interface, then what lies beyond it? What does the objective world, the hardware behind the screen, really look like? And that, perhaps, is the biggest puzzle of them all.